Alright. Welcome back. Day 7 with Shashingo. So yesterday we basically began the process of ironing out all our reading, right? Anything that deals with reading and visual stuff. Today we're gonna pretty much do the same thing without me hitting the F button over and over again accidentally. So I'm gonna try to focus when we have reading and listening. We're gonna try to focus on the read, like the output of the read, because we gotta graduate from the furigana, right? Let's start right away. I think it's safe to switch to random. Random works. I still don't understand what the focus one means. Maybe, oh, we can see if the random has dupes. Oh no, random probably have dupes, because I don't really want duplicates. Oh, whoops. Okay. Now we're gonna keep it on focus. I feel like focus doesn't duplicate at all. There's a chance random has duplicates, and I'm not looking for that yet. But let's do that. You can't go backwards and just hit max for this. Okay. We'll just leave at 3. Alright. Get right to it. This one's fine. Denkiya. Right. Isu is fine. Isu. Okay. Manga is fine. Got the start for once. Yeah, thanks. Hello, Silver. How are you? Good evening, good evening. Seisanki. Alright. Seisanki. Fukuya. That's fine. So we said Seisanki. Koji is fine. Seisanki. Oshirase. Seisanki.
Game.
Seisanki.
Terebi.
Seisanki.
Ice cream.
Seisanki.
Panya.
It's still Seisanki.
Crane game. Bottle crate.
Bottle crate. Nah. Bottle crate. Seisanki. Alright, we're gonna leave Seisanki behind for a bit. After we find the next thing.
Okashi.
Okashi. No, Okashi is fine. Back to Seisanki. 計算機。計算機。
超
超。超。超。超。
ツタ
超。
カラオケ
超。Okay.
冷蔵庫
冷蔵庫。冷蔵庫。Sorry. 冷蔵庫。あと超。超。
バナナ
超。超。
手紙
手紙。手紙。Alright. 手紙。手紙。超。生産。生産機。生産機。手紙。手紙。
太陽
超。太陽。太陽。生産機。超。And I already forgot one. 太陽。生産機。生産機。超。I got the middle one. It's fine. It'll come
Menu.
back to me. It's all good. 太陽。太陽。
スカート
太陽。手紙。超。生産機。
シャッター
だって太陽。
信号機
信号機。信号機。信号機。生産機。超。太陽。
お金
お金。お金 is fine. 太陽。新。No! Say. Ugh. 進行機 or 進行機 something like that. Oh, they're a
橋
little cutie. Hashi. Hashi's fine. 進行機 maybe. Hashi.
フードボール
Hey Marco. Food or what?
換気口
Oh, they're excuses. 換気口。換気口。換気口。太陽。生産機。超。超。いや、超。進行機。換気口。換気口。
肉
換気口。換気口。換気口。換気口。
白
白。That's fine. 換気口。太陽。中。生産機。
フィギュア
進行機。Hopefully 進行機。You missed yesterday, so what's the plan for today? The plan for today is the same plan every day, Pinky. Try to take over the
Smaho.
world, obviously. We're doing today we warm up with reading, listening at the same time, but right now we're focusing on the reads because I already know all the vocabulary by sight with furigana. So, but we're practicing the reads. Oops. We're practicing the reads right now because we need to know how to read the output the kanji by reading, by speaking. Yakyoku. Yakyoku.
Sora.
Sora.
風船
Fusen. Fusen. Taiyo. Cho. Seisanki. Shinkoki. What I remember so far. Fusen.
神社
Jinja. Jinja's fine. Fusen. Possible deniability when you get caught. I never heard you said anything. You don't want to be my accomplice?
買い物かご
Aimono kago. So kago. Kago is a giveaway though. Kago. So I just keep on rattling back the stuff. So Shin Senki. Shin Senki. Oh no. That Shin Senki. Oh, Kankoki. No, Kanko. Kankiko. This one too. Just keep going.
コーヒ
Ayo. Shin Senki. Shinkoki. Shinkoki.
ーお化け
Chu. Ayo. Tegami.
「トイレットペーパー
We know all the photographs, all the flash cards now. It didn't take too long. All the kanji, I mean everything. The problem now is being able to read them out loud. Without the furigana.
落書き
Rakugaki. Okay. Rakugaki.
落書き
Rakugaki.
マンホール
Rakugaki.
卵
Rakugaki. Rakugaki. Rakugaki.
飛行機
Hikoki. Hikoki. Yeah, I took your approach and started with listening first. Boy, you're being humble. Yeah, listening can be a little but the nice thing about starting with listening is the moment you switch over to reading, you can boost your listening quite a bit. Like what I mean is you'll find incredibly comfortable that you can leverage your reading as well. So now I'm not doing that anymore since I've already got the listening down, and I'm combining them for warm-up, and then I'm stripping them of each other. So the first exercise now, and I'm not keeping to the same, right? So now I'm doing warming for reading and listening. Then I'm going to drop it down to reading, since listening is pretty on point. Then I'm
飲み物
removing the furigana to make sure that my reading is intact, and my listening, since I'm no longer relying on my listening as much, I'm speaking while not hearing anything. So now I'm going to try to speak them while listening. So I have to start the day off with everything so that I know where I can focus. So right now I'm very specifically remembering how to read them out loud, because eventually you have to output all of them. Because speaking is still less, for me, is still more approachable than writing, because the last thing is writing. So that's gonna be a bit. And I think I know how I'm gonna do the writing thing. I need to make it though. So writing is incoming, and it's probably for future games too, because I don't think games have an implement for it. So I have an idea. I hope my PC can run them in tandem though, without like hitching and stuff.
岩
Iwa. Oh, I had a fun discussion about Iwa. Oh, yeah. I had a fun chat yesterday about Iwa versus Ishi. This is the king rock, even though it was just these little stones right here. Iwa.
魚
Deisenki. Ayo. Chu. Shinkoki. Kankiko.
看板
Ayu. Anban is okay. Anban. One thing I really would love to request from the Shashingo dev is that when you're not, regardless of if you're reading or listening, or reading and listening, when you click on something and you confirm it, flashing the answer and saying the answer is a very helpful order of things. So I actually think, much like teaching and formalities, whether you get it wrong or right, when you click on something and when it ends that word, flashing the actual text, both furigana or kanji, whatever the setting is, and also saying it again one last time and then moving on, is to help self-correct, but people can find it passively reinforcing. It doesn't even have to be active. So, because you're still moving, you're still going to the next thing, so have it play back or and flash it in the screen in the center or somewhere so that it's a reminder. Because then, in my opinion, people who are passively doing this are also getting reinforced. If you're like me, that's fine. You're doing like, you're taking in extra, right? Like I'm clicking on this and I'm saying the answers, but I'm also clicking on this and trying to see the previous answer. The alternative, if they believe it's too intrusive to like the immersion and stuff, having a previous somewhere on the screen, like bottom left or bottom right, like here's the previous answer, the previous prompt. That would help out too, because if someone's like, yeah, I don't want to hear it play back, like you can set it as an option. Obviously you can set it as an option. However, or you have a list on the right hand where you can have a display of the list, like, oh, these were your previous 3 prompts, or the previous 2, or the previous 1, because I know that they're going for an immersion, so they don't want to cloud the center thing, but you can put it on the bottom right so that it reviews the previous in case you're like, oh wait, what was the last thing again? That kind of thing. So that is very important because when you have things like flashcards and whatnot, oftentimes the most immediate thing, sometimes you can lose attention, right? But the slightest loss of attention will cause you to form gaps. So that's kind of my thought here. And I wouldn't think it's a very difficult thing to implement, right? Anyways, that's one of my thoughts after using this and thinking about the way I'm approaching extracting the information. So perhaps a feature in the future, right?
パスポート
Oh, Kanban. Kanban. Oh, there, Robert. Kanban. Kanban. Sorry you left so early. Oh, yeah, no worries. I hope your family stuff was okay. I hope it was good family stuff, you know? Fun family stuff.
映画ポスタ
Eiga. Eiga. Eiga posta. Eiga is fine. Eiga posta. It's something Duolingo lacks too, so it's not like this is the Shashingo is the first time. I actually took the nod from Wagotabi. Wagotabi has the right of it. They leave the correction screen and the description after the prompt, so they either play it automatically back or you have the option of playing it back and then seeing the descriptor, and that's purely optional, so it's not like intrusive. You can advance ahead. Duolingo works on implicitness, and this game is designed the same way. So whether it's there or not, it's not a big deal in my opinion. You can actively do it yourself. I'm just thinking of things that I do naturally that I don't think the game is reinforcing. Oh, a family outing? Well, that's lovely, Robert. Very lovely.
映画ポスタ
And that's when I lost my attention.
ーテーブル
Able. Okay.
植え込み
Uekomi. 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 Uekomi.
トレー
Uekomi. Uekomi. Ayu. Chu. Seisanki. Kankiko. Shinkoki. At least that's what I think it is.
傘
Iwa. Reizoko. When I'm saying it, I'm thinking of the kanji at the moment, not the hiragana. And I'm not really looking at my screen right now. I'm actually just looking at the bottom. Since this game has a fixed position for everything, I don't have to look at the game itself to get the item.
ノートパソコン
I'm basically just staring at the writing, Japanese writing. I'm not staring at the screen or the item. I look up briefly to make sure I snap the item though, or the thing.
エレベーター
Elevate.
靴
It's fine.
パイプ 広告
Kokoku. Kokoku is fine. Yesterday, I slipped on Kokoku, and then when it hit me, it's pretty much solidified now.
雑誌
Zashi. Zashi. Zashi is fine. Kanji is kind of rough to write though.
ギタ
Ita.
ー 居酒屋
Izakaya. Izakaya. They should make more games like this, but with other languages. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. They should. And my concern, though, obviously the concern is no one's paying for it.
室外機
Well, not enough people are paying for these things. And they're in competition. Games like this is in competition with learning resources. And lots of I would say the vast majority of language learners find enjoying and learning a game when it's associated with a video game is lesser and less efficient and not on task. So that kind of thing causes language learners to not want to support things like this. Is this in beta or something like that? No, this is fully released. This is a full release title. This game has a bright future because Nintendo picked it up and they want to distribute this game on Nintendo Switch. So that's what's currently the developer is working on. But this developer is a solo dev. So unless Nintendo decides, hey, we're gonna make this into a major franchise like Professor Layton or something, games like this will constantly buckle underneath learning resources. They would have to also compete with, not only do they have to compete with other video games, they would have to compete with other learning apps. And those learning apps have millions of dollars. Millions of dollars flow into them, right? And learning apps have higher volume. Regardless of all this TLC, this wonderful experience, many, in my opinion, there's a behavioral bias towards when you're learning something. It has to be rigorous, it has to be exhaustive, and it has to be less entertaining and distracting. So when it comes to like these beautiful games, I really love these things. I actually truly believe engagement is the necessary thing to first come before the learning process. But generally speaking, whenever a game or something becomes more about entertainment, like when it's trying to balance it, it gets heavily criticized by those who want to learn something. Your learning somehow is often dissociated from having fun. So when you sit here, I think the most common comment I'll have if I were to, like, say, back Shashingo or something, or use Shashingo as a source to establish some learning, the first question people will say is, well, is this good enough to get me competent? Is it good enough to get me conversational? The answer is no. The video game, it's supplemental, it helps with reinforcement and in enjoyment. However, then those people would naturally say, well, that's a waste of time. If I wanted to learn Japanese, I wanted to learn it as quickly as possible. Why waste time enjoying a video game? This is good for active recall. I agree. And the flexibility the developer considered, all the little tools and stuff, helps supplement the recall that I think a lot of people do not use. So instead of brute forcing, so there's less brute forcing in a approach like this. However, it is also slowed down by all the interactions and whatnot. But the interactions breathe meaning and help the emotional stability, like the consistency. Like, this is relaxing, comforting, it has aids. So when you're thinking about learning, sometimes that sight is gone. It's not important to a lot of people. It's like, what if I learn Japanese? I want to learn it as fast as possible. Give me a textbook that explains everything and I'll grind the heck out of my mind into the ground, and I prefer to put my money towards that. So I think that is the work mentality. It is the work culture. I mean, I lived and breathed that for at least 30 years of my life. Like, you work hard, you have fun later. If that fun ever comes, well, that's only as the result of working hard. It's not a bad or a good thing. Lots of people love their grindy, etc. The difference here is there's a conflict of interest. When people want to spend money on high efficiency, focus learning that sidelines having fun and entertainment, then developers like this will not necessarily have the funding for that, right? Because it's a conflict of interest. They're technically have overlap purposes, and whichever one is more competitively appealing is the one that's most interesting. So I absolutely love this idea. This idea has existed since I was a kid, prior to the internet. Like Mavis Beacon, Carmen Sandiego, like you thought I was in my 20s? Yeah, I'm almost 40. so back in my day, this stuff has been around for a really long time. However, the interest is no longer there. It's often separated. You either play video games for entertainment and passively learn things, or you go to the classroom, pick up your textbook, and learn and stop worrying about fun, because fun is a distraction. You bootstrap through the distraction, right? Don't say that you're my age and I still don't want to admit you're almost 40. It's all right. It comes with wisdom, right? So I feel this is just me. It's a personal bias. My life is incredibly happier knowing that there is some way to balance making things that look like work be also something that's remarkable and emotionally rewarding all the time. So when I went to work, I love work, but I don't love all of work. Like there are things I don't want to do. There are things that I must like grind and hammer it out. Absolutely. However, it's not much different from all the hobbies that you have. You can be serious about a hobby without the work ethic and emotional tolerance of work. So many times, in my opinion, it's disheartening when people say, oh yeah, you know, I studied Japanese for 3 years. It's the worst thing I've ever done in my life. I wasted so much time and I didn't even become conversational, right? But underneath all that, I don't necessarily think it was because the language was difficult and the person couldn't do it. There was an imbalance, right? At least that's my opinion, but I might be reading too much into it. Anyways. So things like these products exist for a really long time, even before the internet. Actually, some of my very first Windows 98 video games were educational video games. They were games like learn to type, do simple math by using the numpad. So these things existed quite a long time now. The financial interest in it is still not that great. It's so disproportionately minor that it takes a passion project. So almost all of these are passion projects. This game was crowdfunded. Those are passion projects because no major publisher was interested in publishing. But it's fantastic for this game, by the way. It's super fantastic that Nintendo picked it up. Right, Nintendo picked it up, which is fantastic. The other game I was playing, Wagotabi, that's a complete passion project, and it's also crowdfunded, and they decided on Patreon. So no, publishers are not interested in this, and they have to have a financial stake in it. I play these games. I play indie games. Like I play Freebird games. They're still really critically acclaimed for something, but whenever I bring up Freebird games, the chances of anyone hearing about that or experiencing that, you're either the hardcore or like the niche seeker, or no one has heard about it. Like who the publisher Freebird developer and publisher Freebird Games are. Supergiant Games was like that too. I mean, I'm curious, all those like Hades fans now have played Bastion, Transistor, and even Pyre before that. So it takes a lot. Maybe this is the beginning. I could be, I can't predict the future, but maybe this is the start. Maybe it starts with Shashingo and it hits Switch. There are other successful games that matches Nintendo's catalog, so I'm not surprised that a game like this, Shashingo, landed in Nintendo's catalog, because they had Professor Layton before. They do somewhat educational learning type of games, like Ace Attorney deals with logical work, like deductive reasoning. However bombastic, it does teach like deductive reasoning, right, in a weird way. And then Professor Layton is a great example of a incredibly long-lasting, sustained franchise that dealt with problem solving. So Nintendo has that, and it kind of makes sense. Now, are we talking about like Sony publishers and, you know, Xbox studios? Probably not. Steam platform is perfect for that. Hence, Shashinko was first released on the Steam platform, right? Anyways, there's a little... Oh, it's great, though. You guys are almost 40 going on 20. Stop the cap. Anyways, let's get back. Shichigaiki.
室外機
Shugaiki. Shugaiki.
室外機
Tsugaiki.
室外機
Okay. I keep forgetting the Shugaiki.
室外機
Okay. The read. I'm focused on the read right now.
ランプ
Shugaiki. 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 Shugaiki.
はしご
Hashiko. It's interesting that Hashiko went with that character.
バス停
Baste is fine.
水たまり
Utamari. Shugaiki. I can't wait. Dude, my thought is for this game, whenever
食べ物
an indie game first releases a console launch, right? Like when they get the console port, it's a dream come true, by the way, when they get a console port. That's usually the natural thing to have, right? And they usually send an update. So like the Nintendo Switch version often has some sort of new update to it, like to sweeten the pot, and that tends to retroactively be added back to the game on Steam. That happens a lot. So I'm very hopeful. It's not really necessary, but I'm excited and look forward to if they decide to add something back on launch. Even major publishers do that. So like Dave the Diver, when the Nintendo, like when the different console launches, they release new free DLC, or Dave the Diver, which I haven't gone back to play yet, but that kind of thing.
リンゴ
It'd be nice for you to get new maps. If they add them, you have to use in-game, making the players have to learn to get new stuff. That could be a approach for sure. For a reinforcement kind of thing, or like the incentivizing thing to unlock things with currency. Yeah, like progress-based, merit-based currency. That's an interesting thought. I think it's okay. However, this game is it is an immersion based game. So, I think yes and no. They just give the like an option to skip or not, because immersion based games are the novelty of immersion based games are they're not linked by progress. They're linked by happenstance or coincidence. So like when you play a FromSoft game, right? When you get to the boss, the process in which you get to the boss is going to vary between the players by their choices, right? So whichever path they take, someone could just run straight to the boss. Other people can like run around and explore and learn more or something like that. Since this game is not a from zero Japanese game, a Japanese learning game like Wagotabi. So Wagotabi, that design would be wonderful in Wagotabi because they're learning foundational. So it's not necessarily an immersion type game where coincidences happen or emergent gaming happens. They are prescribing. It's a curriculum, right? It's a structured linear path, if you catch my drift. So when it comes to video games, the design language of this is that everything is as optional as you can. Like if you never take a picture of an item, it doesn't restrict you from deviating and getting lost. And one day you might come across the item again. It's like, oh hey, you know what? So this is an exploration immersive sim game, right? So almost everything you do is non-linear. As in, you don't have to take any pictures. You could just sit here and walk around and name stuff without ever taking anything, right? So it's great, in my opinion. I agree with you. It's great from a learning perspective. As in, like, if someone was using this game as a from zero to fluent type of perspective. I think what you're saying is pretty much what Wagotabi is going to do. You cannot advance without completing challenges. And those challenges are benchmarks to your learning journey. In this game would be an active recall game. It would be like an kind of a Anki SRS game, where the structure is determined by the decks, your choice of however you want to approach this. You could experience 20% of the game, 10% of the game, whichever you choose to extract. So that would be probably my alternative perspective on matching the philosophy of the person, right? Sometimes people just aren't interested in trees. Look at these cute little things. Sorry. And some people just aren't interested in cats. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. Excuse. Some people just don't want to take pictures of cats, you know? Hello there, cutie. Little cutie. Oh, let's go scratch the other one too. It's so hard to see this one, dude. This one is a sneaky devil right here. Look at that. Alright. But fair is fair. We have to go pet the dog too. Scratchies. Okay. Let's get back to focus. That's a rodent? Listen, I'll show you a rodent. Honestly, dude, where's my hamster? You know, where's my hamster and like my... I don't know how to say owl yet. You know, where's my animal cafes? I know there's a lot of like... We're not going to talk about what the ethical and moral concerns, but in a virtual space, I mean, where are my other aminals, right? A zoo. I need a zoo. We need a zoo. We totally need a zoo. Like, we need a zoo, like now. Oh man, What about a theme park? A theme park is like a shopping mall, you know? Like a theme park that includes the zoos and stuff. Like, oh, that's a good location, a theme park. And then the theme park can have any type of theme, you know, and just be out of the box, dude. Yeah, Dobutsen. Oh, that's one of your new words, Dobutsen. Oh, nice. Nice. Man. Ah, man, there's just so much possibilities.
灯籠
And I know I'm gonna be a cynic. This is very cynical, but whenever I think of great ideas, like you and I, like all of us were discussing, oh yeah, it could have this, it could have this. Immediately, my adult mind says, who's paying for it? And what I mean by that is not just money, but time, effort, and research and design. Like, who's paying for it? Because like I feel like I'm a kid when I'm playing video games, right? I want everything. Like, why can't I have this? Why can't I have that? It's kind of like the kid, like when you first ever went to like a candy store or something. Like, you just want everything, and then immediately my older self just slaps me down to earth. Like, who's paying for it? I think that's honestly one of the things about growing up, right? Being growing older over time. You get excited in the moment, and then you step back and you think, you get perspective, and I'm like, yeah. Dad, obviously. Like, yeah. And then you think, like, you stand back and you get the sobering thought, and then immediately you're like, man, I just wish I could give people all of it. You know what I mean? Like, then you get even older and you're like, man, I mean, I could go at any day. Why? I want to leave everything else for everyone else. That's exactly how I feel. Like, that's my cycle every time. Like, oh yeah, this is so exciting, but now it's not about me. What about the little kid who's paying for all this stuff? And then you step back and say, what about the little kiddos? I should use most of my time to, you know, make things and secure things for the future generation. And then you go back again. Like, you go through all your cycles again. As a kid, you're only like worried, you know, you're constantly worried about yourself because you're experiencing the world for the first time. Then as an adult, you get perspective on who's doing what, what's doing what, a bigger picture. Then when you get older, you're like, oh, now we have to worry about the kiddos, because I mean, I've experienced a lot of things. Now it's time to make sure the future generation have things, you know, posterity and legacy. And then you go back again. You wake up, you do something and say, oh yeah, I want this, I want that. Like, why can't this have that? And then suddenly, immediately, the next moment, it's like, yep, you can't have all of that. Someone's got to pay for it. You got to pay for it. Who has to make it? And then near the end of the day, it's like, oh, maybe I should make something just so that other people can have things. Let's set the stage for the future. So like, what I'm saying is, I've gone through all that stage. Now, when I'm thinking of Shashingo, right? I will outgrow Shashingo and like Wagotabi. But the question is, would I be rewarded by investing time in supporting and promoting these things, right? So that other people after me, like the others who will eventually decide, hey, I want to learn Japanese and also play a video game, that is what you're investing in. You're investing forward in people, right? You're investing forward in the developer's future projects and the future end user, not as the current user, right? So that perspective branches from being young to being an adult to being a parent, or to being a like mentor. Like, those are the 3 stages. I'm not old enough to think about death yet, so that's okay. I'm not thinking about closure right now, so not that old yet. Maybe in another 20 years I'll start talking about closure and then go through the cycle. But psychologically, I don't think I'm there yet, where I would think, how would you promote, like, secure your legacy and have worry about closure all the time or reminisce all the time. So I'm not that guy that is in a stage where I'm in my 60s or 80, from 60 to 80, where let me tell you about my life. Let's just keep spending most of the time telling you about my life, because near the end, quote unquote, as one get even older, when you try to find closure, you're usually perpetuated to share your stories, right? Because you're no longer required to seek new stories. That's when someone has true closure, right? I feel like this game did a good job size-wise, right? I like how this map isn't too big, it's manageable player-wise, and in a way, development-wise. So if they kept this size, updates might be manageable. Exactly. I think it's the scope, the modularity. I think the word I'm gonna use to describe what you just wrote is modularity. How modular the unit is, how big and manageable from a resource standpoint. I think with the slightly bigger group, if this developer has managed to find like 2 or 3 other people who are like have separate tasks like asset generation and stuff, and this person's able to still take the conceptual lead, this type of chunk is relatively manageable. And then since it's not focused on mechanics that deal with loading the whole thing, right? A map style thing is a great way to go about it. And a lot of indie games do take this approach. They set in a lot of modular things so that they can work on and adding things in a very compartmentalized manner, so that you're not looking at the thing as a gigantic project, but more as bits and pieces to build on top of each other. So I think the foundations of this game is fantastic for game development, business in general. Like, you have to have a model that is good for business. Who's paying for the game, right? If you made a game like, and this is why, here's a slight side note, I won't talk too much about this, but there is a big double edge for every Baldur's Gate 3 to be successful when it comes to business ventures. So, right, it is fantastic for the indie group who is successful and creates a gold standard with their game. However, with every gold standard, there must be tempered in business expectations from the end user, right? If every game is on the scope of Baldur's Gate 3, think about how few games will be released and what the time frame it will be. And if investors who don't play video games or want to support a business model instead would ever pay to support a video game, right? Because the development costs would be on a scope like no other. And that's kind of where I'm feeling that the balance between how much of a game costs, how much does it take to develop, and whatnot, is very important to intersect with businesses. Because not all businesses fork money and play the games. They're interested in how they can sustainably manage profitability, right? So that's a necessity to understand. So this game, indie games, are quite at a place where lots of people are reasonable and enjoy that. AA games are the new fad, basically, right? It's a big trend because AAAs have become too big, too risky, so number of projects have gone down, and the scope of projects haven't decreased yet. So you have less and less people willing to pay for the financial risk. Yet the demands of the end user is getting bigger and bigger. So the projects keep getting bigger, longer, and more expensive, but businesses are less and less publishers are less and less likely to financially invest. So naturally, it trends down. And that's a great way to look at it. If you're thinking about how the map isn't too big, it's manageable player-wise and development-wise, that's a really grounded way of looking at it. And I'm not even in development, so this is reasonable from a perspective that if you were to make something, how sustainable is it, right? And I think Shashingo is here to stay, in my opinion. Wagotabi is a different story, though. I have probably a big concern about Wagotabi. I love what they're doing. I absolutely love what they're doing. I think the way they're doing their game releases and going to attract funding, I really do hope that they're like not the same, but like a Cinderella story kind of thing, like a Terraria or Stardew Valley, where humble beginnings sparked enough word of mouth exchange that would support the project long enough to realize its vision. Generally speaking, though, for every Wagotabi design, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of very high potential projects, and they disappear after 6 months to a year because they found that it was just not financially juggleable, and the people who are doing it out of their free time found it just produced way too many strain on their jobs while trying to do that. It happens so often. I think right now, for me personally, I've experienced like 11 games, and the management just got wrecked. The management side of things, the logistics, and like the choice of publisher, if there was one, they just get nailed, and then they get closed down, either closed down or they close up shop themselves. And you just have these like projects that may be picked up in the future by someone who has financial gains or financial interest, but generally there are so many like skeleton projects that it's so great, and then when it got hit for the big time, it didn't translate. There was just a lot of passion often cannot supplant the pragmatic need to understand how to make a project manageable. Passion can do a lot of things. I definitely agree. I don't want to sound like a cynic. But man, if you don't have resources, it sucks. Right. That is one of the first things we were taught when creating our first game, manageability. Yeah, not just for development, but plethora things. Yeah, exactly. And finances. Like, there are games where they hit it off so hard, and then they expand. You know, they keep expanding, and suddenly everything falls apart because the foundation of the management, like how to secure funds, how to like HR when they're expanding, you can see it topple so often. And that's not because it's a bad or good thing or there was ill intent. Largely, you have to expect that an indie dev has a collective of a small group of people, and their experience is limited to that group. So they would have to find a balance where they expand to make sure that they cover all the necessities of making it manageable. And there are indie games where they expand. It's like, oh yeah, as long as I work hard and people love it, it'll be fine, right? And then they entered a period where they were financially negligible, where their funds just got distributed. They had no idea how they ended up with a budget that is completely unmanageable, and then they get the axe, right? And you hear so many of those, and then sometimes it's not even them. The publisher decided, you know what, your project doesn't bring in financial interest enough for us to keep you, so they close them down. Like, for example, nonchalantly, Xbox Studio groomed a bunch of studios, and yes, it's not their fault because maybe Xbox Studio went a different direction or something like that, it's still part of the process, right? It's like, well, sorry, we have a conflict of interest. Sorry to let you go, right? I'll take a slight shout out to a studio that I was surprised that got cut, which was Tango Studio, Tango Entertainment, who made Hi-Fi Rush, along with like Evil Within. That they shut the doors on that studio. Another one that never came back yet, which is Capcom, when they shut down Clover Studios, who made Okami. I still have my fingers crossed though. Capcom owns the IP for Okami, and Capcom is doing really well financially, so there might be a chance that Okami comes back. I don't know what happened to the people who were in the studio, but those people did go on to like establish other studios, and I think most of them are doing pretty all right for themselves. Yeah. Passion can put the blinkers on though, for sure. Yeah, Passion can definitely put the blinkers on. Anyways, yeah, sustainability and manageability, right? If you're wondering why sometimes CEOs get paid as much as they do, that's probably one of the reasons in the beginning why eventually they might become too big for their own good, but usually it starts with that person, the person that manages all of it with the vision. That's where the big corporations and companies initially starts, humble beginnings. Hey Maku, you're doing a good job learning. Thanks. All right, so let's get back here. Oro.
Keijiban.
So Kanban is related to Keijiban, and we'll use that to remember the read.
Hotel.
For the record, I haven't ever worked as a project lead or manage or lead a big team or anything like that. I have largely been a subordinate. I'm usually part of the team player, but not the team leader. I had considered a bunch of times to like lead a project or like a venture or something, but I don't think that's the life for me.
Cafe.
Okay. It doesn't stop me from being curious and learning about what is necessary or what is sufficient to do those things. In fact, knowing those things is what's keeping me from assuming a position like that.
Kutsuya.
I don't think anyone in my life has, or anyone that I've come in contact has vigorously incentivized me to assume a leadership position. So because of that, I'm not pressured to do so. I wouldn't have to. Hello there, Chibi. Ohio.
Denshi renji.
I wouldn't say that I would fail at it. I think I would probably do fairly average, if not above average, if I was obligated to take on a position like that. I wouldn't voluntarily take on a position like that though.
T-shirts.
Not for the sake of my mental health.
Kashipan.
One might even say, I think I might be a little bit too old now for that, like in mental age and maybe biological age. I don't think I want to take on a leader position. Yeah, your goals would be more to be a part of an indie team, but not the lead. I lack the creativity and mental capacity anymore. Kappa. Yeah. I think you're young enough, you little silly goober. I know this sounds like a double standard. Kashipan. Kashipan. Yes. Kashipan. It's made of two words you might be familiar with. Kashipan.
Kawa.
Kawa. Like okashi. Like kashi in general. Okashi. And then pan. So kashipan.
Super.
Yep. You got it, GB.
Densha.
Densha. Now we wait. Machimasu. Machimasu. What's kashi? Snack.
段ボール箱
Kashi is snack. And you can place an honorific in front of it. So okashi, a snack. So when you have okashi or kashipan, it's a snack bread. So snack bread could translate into like a sweet bread perhaps, or snack bread, but maybe it's a sweet snack bread. And of course, kashipan is like saying udon and yakisoba at this point, where it's a specific type of thing and it's characterized by regional differences and whatnot. Like, you know, if you go to the United States and eat Chinese food, what does that look like, kind of thing. So kashipan, I have a very distinct image of what a kashipan is, that would qualify as a kashipan. And densha, yeah, densha, electric car.
段ボール箱
Danboru bako. I learned that fukuro can mean a bag or owl. Oh, interesting, a bag. Huh. I had no idea. Oh, and it can mean owl, so fukuro is owl, huh? I just coincidentally said I have no idea how to express an owl. So fukuro. Fukuro. Interesting.
道路標識
Ofukuro does not mean a bag. Yeah, I see. So does ofukuro only mean owl since it's like honorized? Oh, it means mother? Oh, ofukuro. Oh, that makes sense. Fair enough. That would explain also the honorific. The obligatory. How is that different from Okasan? Chibi.
道路標識
This one is gonna take me some time to be able to read it out loud. Doryo hyoshiki. Doryo hyoshiki. Doryo hyoshiki. Doryo hyoshiki. Hyoshiki. Doryo hyoshiki.
カメラ 自転車
Itencha. this is where I thank Duolingo. Because when I think of a bike, when I look at this image in my head, I think jitensha. So regardless of what the kanji is, now it's really easy to pick up what the kanji is because I don't have to concern myself with how to read it. Because if I see a bike, I say jitensha. So now I just look at the kanji instead of worrying about the furigana. You have no clue? I saw people on a comment section saying they want a ofukuro at a kombini. And the cashier looked at them. Oh. I see. And it's also at the cashier, it's not a kabam either. A kabam is a bag as well, but it's not kabam. It's you want a plastic shopping bag, and that's actually a specific word. Yeah. I think most of you can probably do like bukuro. Probably bukuro. Something with a bukuro, like kaimono bukuro, or a I think there's a katakana phrase as well for like a plastic bag or like a reusable bag or an eco bag, but definitely not kabam or probably ofukuro. It's bukuro. So you can't just add o to objects. You can. You sort of can, but I wouldn't go out of my way to do that. But this is a bukuro. Bukuro is the I think the root word for that type of bag, and then kaban is another type of bag as well, but specifically at a cashier. It would be really awkward to use either of those words. Oh, you can maybe if you decide to. The reason why the O gets dropped is I would probably say kaimono bukuro, as in like a shopping bag. So like what I mean is I wouldn't. You typically, at least from the patterns I've seen, you drop the honorific if you're using something to describe it, like if you're contracting words together. So if it's bukuro anyways, you can add like a modifier to it, and I probably use kaimono, like a shopping bag. Kaimono is shopping, so kaimono bukuro probably. I don't know how to say plastic or reusable. Maybe you can get away with like eco bagu. Although the plastic bags aren't reusable. So eco bagu is kind of like the things that the ones that are like supposed to be, you bring those bags and like carry those bags so that you don't use up more plastic bags, right? So eco bagu probably. I bring that type of bag when my parents go shopping and go grocery shopping. We bring our own bags, like reusable bags, as opposed to ask for like things like a kaimono bukuro, something like that. I think Duolingo introduced something else. Duolingo also introduced another phrase for bag that specifically is the plastic bag that you request at a cashier. Yeah, eco bagu. Yeah, bagu with the bagu with the tsu in the middle. Yeah. Eco bags. I know. It's fantastic, isn't it? I think that's a thing. I heard it a couple of times already. I think that's a thing that is wonderful. I think eco bags, the idea of eco bags is fantastic around the world. Like, when I was living alone is when that trend started in the United States, where people grocery stores and stuff encourage like giving away echo bags. So when they come back into the grocery store, it would have branding and whatnot, so that it reminds you of grocery stores and stuff. So it's great for business, and also people would bring their own bags. Yeah, like tote bags. Although these specific bags are kind of really marked to allow or like non-concealed things. Tote bags sometimes can be concealed or like have zippers and stuff. But these are like more or less tote bags. Yeah, I think they're fantastic. Yeah, our Lidl's and Aldi's use those only. Yeah, bags was a biggie for you. Was always drowning in plastic before the bags for life. Now I have the same problem with water bottles. Yeah, exactly. It's a franchise, right? Excuses where you are. It's a regional brand, a regional chain, sorry, of like stores. Yeah, I use that quite a lot. So now, you know, plastic bags are used for disposal. So you like for trash and stuff. Yeah, that's still a thing, but at least now carrying stuff isn't that. Yeah, kind of neat. Times have changed. Oh, sorry, Jitensha. So many stories when you look at objects.
スーツケース
Suitcase. Vocabulary we didn't know we needed till now. We need inside that supa. Yeah, I know, right? I think this is how I remember things. If you're learning a language, in my opinion, and you have stories like this, it's very difficult to forget the vocabulary. And then, you know, one day you can describe it. You can turn that vocabulary into a sentence or a story even, and you can write it down and then practice that story as you're writing it down and whatnot, and so on and so forth. You can do that in English right now if you want. I didn't necessarily just came up with the story on the spot and how I'm talking about it and the ideas are being formed. It's through practice, right? So all the stories I'm saying, all the ideas and creativity, it's actually not really just created on the spot. I mean, some things might be on the spot, but generally speaking, it's built upon a lot of experience of explaining things and telling the story in different ways, writing it down and whatnot.
電池
You don't have to be a genius to be able to tell a story live without saying eto every single sentence or and like every single sentence.
提灯
Hello, what is this? This is a game called Shashingo. It's a Japanese vocabulary game using photography. It's an indie game, self-published, and available on Steam right now. If you happen to own a Switch, this game is coming to Switch as well. This game was released this year, about 5 months ago. And you take pictures and you learn Japanese vocabulary in the process.
提灯
Ochin. Ochin. Ugh, it's too far away. Come on. Chochin. Paper lantern. Chochin.
木
I-
じょうろ
Joro. Chochin. Chochin. I already forgotten the, what is it? Doro. Doro. hiyashiki. No, hyoshiki. Doryo hyoshiki. Doro hyoshiki.
醤油
Shoyu. Look at that chonker. Chonker of a kanji character. Shoyu.
横断歩道
Oldan Hodo. This one is gonna take a while to get the read. Oldan. Oldan Hodo. Oldan Hodo.
Pan
Oldan Hodo. Oldan Hodo.
映画館
Oldan Hodo.
街頭
Gaito. Oldan Hodo. Gaito is fine. Oldan Hodo.
人参
Injin. I don't know if we got into 145 yet. Got a little distracted by interesting questions.
トラック
Hold on, hold on. On hold. Hold on, hold on.
Jido hanbaiki
Jido hanbaiki. Jido hanbaiki. I need to actually play the game again. I ended up exporting all the vocab to Anki and just reviewed it there. Anki has you by the kneecaps. Jido hanbaiki.
犬
Jido hanbaiki. It's efficient. Oh, look at the little guy.
門本屋ポストホビーショップ
He doesn't get paid to sleep. Well, he doesn't get paid anything, and you can't even feed him. Come on.
玄関マット
Genkan mato. You need to chill, excuse me.
'ゴミ
He's chunky enough. That's why he's cute.
ガチャガチャゲームセンターぬいぐるみ
Are you only live on YouTube? No, I'm also live on Twitch.
Neko
Alright, which cat are we gonna take a picture of? I think we're gonna take a picture of the black one. The one by the... Dang it. Keijiban. By the Keijiban. Hello there, little cutie.
町屋
Machia.
ほうき
Okay. There's a real Shiba Inu in Japan manning a store. Yeah, there are several real Shiba manning a store. I think it passed away last year or earlier this year. The viral one, I don't know. That's unfortunate. Okay. That's a kuro neko. Kuro neko. Yeah, the viral one.
三角コーン
Sangaku-kon. Sankaku. Sankaku-kon.
大根
Daikon. Sangaku-kon. Where is it? Oh, I lost it already.
みかん
I lost the read on one of the things already. It'll take time.
スイカ
The read as in not the writing, but the read as in the speaking.
スケートボード 虫
Mushi. We'll make like a favorites list or
車
reads in the future. Kuruma.
帽子
I'm surprised that I clearly missed the car. Oh, gee.
月 桜
Good up.
メイドカフェ
Edo Cafe.
郵便受け
Yubinke. Yeah, Yubinuke is gonna take a while for the read too. Yubinuke. I think I might do a listening exercise on top of that. Well, we gotta curate and then do a listening exercise on top of that.
地図
That's probably what I would do. As opposed to doing all 145 for the warm-up. Because it'll take two. It's not... I don't have enough time.
ステッカ
Is there one nearby? Probably... What? I really thought there was gonna be one there.
ーコンビニ
Okay.
カバン
Can't they say it's a Egami Bako? I
ボラード
don't know. I don't know. That seems
精
reasonable.
肉店
Seinikten. Seinikten. I think we're close to all 145. Yeah.
バスケット
Yeah, the vocabulary itself is no longer. If I had sight and hearing, it's 100% without a doubt.
駐車場
Chushajo. Chushajo. This one can be tough too. Chushajo. When I look at that, I don't think of Chushajo. Like, speaking wise. I know what it is, but
ゴミ箱
I wouldn't say Chushajo. Yeah, parking lot.
植物
Shokubutsu. Shokubutsu.
靴下
Tsushita.
公衆トイレ
Koushu Toide. Yeah, Koushu. Yeah, Koushu is tough too. On the read. Koushu.
チョコレート
Shokubutsu. Here is a shower gel brand. So initially I thought it was a soap. Oh, that's kind of cute.
鏡
Kagami.
ラーメン屋
Namen ya.
柵
Saku.
鳥居
Tori. Well, now you can't forget plants, right? Shokubutsu. Just think of soap. Just think of a very soapy plant. And you're good. Shokubutsu. Just think of going outside and cleaning off your plants with the soap. You got it.
駅
Okay, there it is. And I missed one because I was distracted. I sent a incorrect answer, but it was Ega Posta. All right. So I think we're gonna do a listening lesson in the future, and I'm gonna use my favorite section to mark them. So let's mark the ones. So Shinkoki is one. So then my listening exercise will only be on favorites, so that I know I can attach them to the kanji. Probably
植え込み
uekomi. Uekomi is probably one. Uekomi.
公衆トイレ
Koushu, just the koushu part.
自動販売機
Jido hanbaiki.
室外機
Shichugaiki. Shichugaiki. I think Seijiban is one of the first I picked up because I kept getting this wrong. Hello there, Lotus. I find it quite jarring when a Japanese word for something sounds almost English. Is that because the thing didn't exist on its own in Japan? No. The thing... oftentimes the thing does exist in Japanese. However, because of the nature, the natural language, the item oftentimes adopts the name that people use very often. So like for example, you will find lots of instances where someone would say like jaqueto as opposed to kipu. So kipu is ticket, but jaqueto is also ticket. And it's kind of like we could say we could call mayonnaise lard, like a lard based cream sauce in English, but we use mayonnaise. For example. Or what's a good one? What's a good one? So adopted words tend to come with it's the same with Japanese. Yeah, so there's a traditional word, but the popular word is the how about we don't call it that? Lard lard based cream sauce as opposed to mayonnaise. Yeah, so and I think it can be jarring. It is also stupefying. And due to popularity, right? Popularity. So silver, I think at first is very jarring, and it's always a consternation. But it's a fun like consternation for me. So when someone says like bodo game. Um, after a while, you kind of get used to it, but there's still times when you're like, Nimujin. I'm like, what the heck is that? And it's like, oh, a limousine. So it's a, as an English speaker, I think it's one of those things it can be jarring, but it is also like the puzzle aspect of the game. It's kind of like always playing what is it at Mad Lib? It's like constantly playing a game of Mad Lib in English. You know, where they like use a different phrase. It's so close to another phrase or another word, but it's composed of syllables that are not the word itself. And that's kind of the best caption of katakana when it comes to adopted words. And katakana itself is it deliberately designed for adopted words. So, and I'm specifically saying adopted words. I don't like saying borrowed words or loan words oftentimes because it is how they pronounce those words, as opposed to no, they're not trying to sound American or English. Like I have heard I watch a lot of multicultural streams where like one person speaks in English and one person speaks in Japanese, like exclusively, and you can definitely hear where like instead of saying a certain word, they actually just say it in English. So it is not like a fast hard rule, but the appropriateness is that um I personally, not in Japan, like I haven't been to Japan, but if you said something like um truck ga arimasu, truck ga arimasu, I think it would be jarring to them, but it's like the same double standard. Like it'll be jarring to them because truck is, but turaku, turaku, turaku is the is what they will say. But if they say turaku and you hear it, it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of jarring. But then you say truck ga arimasu, it might be jarring to them, but the idea, the humorous nature of this is that you can still communicate through those, even with like slight differences, in my opinion, because it's fairly obvious. So I find it a little endearing that it's a mutual jarriness. And then now it's no longer like jarry because I just think it's funny. A lot of common words now are westernized, bro. Some katakana words be harder than kanji. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like you got me out there saying tongue twisters. I know, right? Like Samaho. Samaho is a good one. Now all you have to do is learn how to order from the machine. I think when it comes to reading, I talked about this in the Discord. I don't know. I wrote like a huge like thought bubble. I had a manic thought yesterday in like at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. But that comment about now you have to order from the machine, actually it's really interesting that reading comprehension kind of goes a longer way in Japanese due to its wonderful and elegant writing. Long story short, I'm not going to elaborate on this, but reading comprehension tends to excel quite well with Japanese language learners because of its elegant writing system, and you can go a long way with it. The irony here is if you're an English speaker, one of the major forms of enrichment and learning comes from speaking and listening, because reading in English is incredibly pep. Because English has so many different inspirations for its writing system, like how things are spelled and pronounced, that the most practiced way of learning English is kind of nearly in contrast to the most practiced way in Japanese. I say this because my Chinese parents also do the same thing. They are very comfortable and well practiced in using reading comprehension as a way to learn the English language. But the English language's writing system is incredibly hybridized. So because of its hybridized system, speaking and listening is the major thing. However, since they're Chinese, they're more predicated on the writing system, and so is Japanese. It's very elegant. Even though it can't capture like everything, like pitch accent and stuff, English doesn't capture anything. It barely captures anything. Or it captures things, but it's so variant that the most practiced skill is to listen. So here's the deep cut. A very short deep cut. Why is it that the last phase and the most important phase of English to the acquisition of other languages, like an English speaker, is listening and immersion, right, through conversation? Why does that create a big threshold for English speakers? Because English speakers' learning capacity and most practiced thing, in my opinion, is auditory. However, when you go into Japanese, there's a big reward up front for reading comprehension because their writing system is so elegant. It's incredibly restrictive, disciplined, and wonderfully structured that allows you to get a far ways. But the most practiced skill you have as an English speaker is actually listening and speaking, because writing English is not, in my opinion, as elegantly structured as Japanese. So the irony here is a lot of people talk about how well they read stuff and can get away with a lot of stuff by relying on typing and writing in Japanese because, yeah, their system is fantastic. Meanwhile, as a streamer who largely read English, right, because people type in English, that stuff, lots of errors, lots of things, different flares, different pronunciations, different writing, even deliberate misspelling or not deliberate misspelling, changes, that doesn't fly in Japanese. Like, it doesn't fly in Japanese. Like, you would lose things in translation. People would get on your butt. It's like, this is the way to type the Japanese phrase. But in English, it's like, whatever. Like, yeah, is that how you spell the word? I don't know. So I think that was the part of my mania yesterday. I don't know if it's I'm starting to get this feeling that it's really funny that one of the most practiced skills from an English speaker, they avoid using it to learn Japanese, because ironically in Japanese you learn a lot about the Japanese language through its writing, but not necessarily immediately apparent through speech, right? Through speech and audio. So you have this thing where like my parents, they have trouble acquiring English because they think that reading and being able to see the writing and how it sounds to them is sufficient. But that works really well in Hanzi. Like in Chinese, like Hanzi and Pinyin works so well. Like, it feels great. And then when you go to English, I'm like, don't read any of this. Just go and talk to someone. Like, go and have conversations with someone, because it takes an exponentially long time to, like, even raw rote memory all the different pronunciation and spelling than going to talk to someone, right? But in Japanese, you get a lot from understanding how the kana works, how the kanji works, and reading. And then Hanzi is even next level above that. When you start seeing these things and putting them together, it feels so rewarding. And the speech is like, it's really mechanical. Like there's a lot of fine tuning on that. In English, it's like, start by speaking. Like, there's no way around it. But then you have Chinese and Japanese people who are like, but what about reading English? Like, I want to write all these vocabulary words. Like, yeah, that's probably not gonna help you with Like, you need a lot of time to figure out what the pronunciation of those things are, because English, the writing system is, like most people would agree, probably too simplified for its own good, or it has too many subsystems, right? Like something from French, something from German, like it's all over the place. That's why I'm talking about this, because we mentioned katakana again, the whole like, oh, it sounds like an English word, but it's not. But the thing about katakana is when you read katakana and you try to read it the way katakana is read, it generally just sounds like that all the time, which is amazing outside of pitch accent. In English, when you start reading something, you're not even sure what the accent is. Like when you see sushi, do you say sushi, 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 sushi? Like, where is the breakup in the English writing system? Like, when you read katakana, it's like you're going to read katakana in a way. When you read another word that is in an English thing, what is it? What is it? Like, when you see tempura, do you see tempura? Well, when you see it in Japanese, it's tempura. Even if your pitch accent is slightly off, it's still tempura. Or like a, sumaho. You could mess up the pitch accent all you want, but it's still sumaho. In English, when you see smartphone, can my parents see smart and phone, or they see smart and phone, or smart and pone, or samurit phone? Like you can't. It's weird. Like English is, the writing system is not as cool, not as like precise. So I actually think it's a funny little, it can end up being someone's crutch. It can also end up being like this really weird fun interaction, in my opinion. Sorry. That's a longer digression than I think. I never made any errors. I wonder if English is less stable as a language because the writing system sucks. I think it's less stable. Personally, I would back that. I'm like 60-40. It's less stable as a writing system, but at the same time, because it's less stable as a writing system, so many people use it. What I mean by that is, it's so fluid and destabilized that the chaos is what makes people want to adopt the English. It's like that. Yeah, English is it's a combination. There's so many combinations in English. Something like, it's over 70%. Yep, it's over 70% now. It's like increasing. It's like increasing, Silver. It's so wild that nowadays I think it's so funny that people use their languages to compare to English. I'm like, what is English? It's like, what is English? And the fun thing about English, and that's why it's so ironic, right? Let's do one last deep cut. When people are learning English, when I meet people learning English, they avoid the one thing that is quote unquote almost necessary for English, which is to speak it, right? Now, meanwhile, it's ironic because English speakers who learn Japanese, the one thing that they avoid is speaking it. Now, the funny thing here is, because it's reinforced, they get so much mileage from the comprehension of reading Japanese that they can avoid the thing that they do most of the time and is most practiced in the language they're speaking. That's the mania that I had. The manic thought I had yesterday was I was talking circles around my mind. I'm like, okay, English people, English speakers learn most efficiently and practice most definitely through speech, through the exchange of like the fluidity of English. Yet when they're learning Japanese, the first thing they'll gather is that reading comprehension goes a long way to doing everything. So they focus on practicing that skill, yet they avoid the very thing that they're most practiced in, which is using whatever English you have, like making errors, making grammar, speaking, and interacting with each other. So not only do they not leverage the thing they do every day with English, they avoid it as the last thing to learn a language system that actually focuses a lot on its writing system, their elegance of their writing system going a long way, and not speaking. Meanwhile, the opposite is true, where my parents is like, oh yeah, we learn through bootstrapping, through like Hanzi and learning how the Hanzi gathers the tone and whatnot, and then we speak. So instead, my parents avoid the very thing that would make them exceptional at picking up English, because they're conditioned with a writing system that is great, but the English writing system is kind of it's not that great for speaking. Like reading English does not there's diminished return. You can still do it though. You can totally do it both ways. I just find it really funny that the deep cut here is, I don't know, the difficulty comes from the actual languages themselves per se, but more like the mentality and the practice of the people who use those languages to engage in the other. So they're kind of like engaged in a way that both the languages are not as elegant. Speaking English tends to be the more elegant thing. The flexibility of English makes it so that people can understand each other with incredibly different accents, like even to an extent. Meanwhile, Chinese and Japanese will probably not tolerate that much. Like the rigidity of what they need needs a lot of fine tuning, right? But that's where English kind of does a lot. You're trained to hear a lot of different sounds most of the time because English is constantly changing, right? Like it's different from person to person. So you're already trained to listen for subtle differences and stuff, at least in my opinion. So I don't know. I think it's so funny. So like Silver mentioned that katakana can sound jarring because in English, you kind of pay attention to these things. It's just a spoken language. And you get used to it. Like immediately I got used to katakana, like hearing katakana, so it's no longer jarring to me. It's kind of like listening to someone's English accent. You give it a day and it's like, oh yeah, I guess that's pretty normal. Or you watch a British program and you didn't realize you were watching a British program after like a day because it's so expected. Part and partial. Oh, part and partial of being a recognized international language. Yeah, I forgot what the phrase is. The default language. Yeah, gotta be always almost fluid in its process. Yeah. Speak for yourself. I didn't choose to speak English. I was content with speaking gibberish as a child. Uh, my English is not perfect. As long as I can pass what I want to say to the other. How's my Hanzi practice? Did I forget any? Well, we didn't get to it yet. Oh, you mean like up to this point? No, not really. Not from. I didn't get to Hanzi yet. Hanzi is at the end of the day. If you're talking about yesterday's session, yeah, we don't get to it at the end. This is the beginning. We're in the beginning session. All right. Anyways, it's. I'm not saying it's true or false or something. It's my thought. I get mania every once in a while. So I talk and I type and I write things. That was my manic thought yesterday. I was like thinking circles around me. It's like, but if this leads to this, which one was first? Like, does this lead to this? Like, it was a circle, big circle. Mania. Anyways, let's do our favorite list. Rakugaki. Yeah, let's put in Rakugaki. We're okay with these. Oh yeah. Chushuju.
駐車場
Chushajo.
駐車場
Yeah, we're gonna need Chushajo. Say Nikten. Yeah, let's put say Nikten. These are fine. Machia. These are fine. Kankiko. Kankiko, yeah. Kankiko. Yeah, Kyoku? Nah. We'll put in Doro Hyoshiki. Doro Hyoshiki. Doro Hyoshiki. Genkan is fine. Busen probably. Okay, Odan Hodo. Odan Hodo.
横断歩道
Odan Hodo. I'm just gonna have to put that. Probably this too. Chokubutsu. Chokubutsu. Cho? No, Cho is fine. Tegami? Yeah, that's fine. We're good. We're fine. Yubin Yuke.
郵便受け
Yubin Yuke. Seisanki? Yeah, we'll put that there for the time being. Seisanki. Yo, listen up. Here's a story. Sorry. Initially, I thought Ninjin was a person. Yeah, Ninjin. Because they used the nin. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay, so that will be for our listening exercise for warm-up tomorrow. So these are all the words. So in favorites, you can do the find mode, and you can lock it to favorites. So then you can practice all the favorites. And that's what we're gonna do for... Actually, there's only 15, right? So let's do a quick listening exercise. So let's do a quick listening exercise so I can hear them all again.
駐車場駐車場
Chushajo. 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 I'm thinking of the kanji right now. Chushajo.
室外機
Tsugaiki. Chungaiki. 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 This is how I use tools in my opinion. Like I'm trying to demonstrate like ways to... I don't know if this was the way they designed it. I don't think this is the way they intended favorites to be used, but you have lots of mechanical ways to approach tools, right, at their fundamental level.
生産機
Seisanki. Seisanki. Get creative. I think that's my tagline from now on. Get creative. It's like, oh, you have a problem. Get creative. And that sounds like get good, but maybe I'll do something with it so that it's not like a bit of a toxic phrase or something.
風船
Seisanki. Busen. Busen. Busen.
Uekomi 植え込み
Uekomi. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add public toilet. It said something like Koshu. I don't know.
植え込み
Uekomi. Uekomi. Uekomi.
落書き
Rakunaki. 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 Can I get it from here? Ah, yeah.
公衆トイレ
Oh, no, I did add it. Cold shoe. Oh, let's see. Cold shoe. Oh, yeah. Okay, cold shoe toilet. I did add it. Okay.
精肉店
Seinikten. 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 Seinikten.
道路標識
Dorio Hiroshiki. Dorio Hiroshiki. Doro Hiroshiki. Doro Hiroshiki.
植物
Shokubutsu.
自動販売機
Jidohanbaiki. 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 Soapy plant. Yeah, I know, right? Soapy plants. I'm so in October, there's this Inktober thing, right? I am totally going to make jokes. If I get the prompt plants, in Inktober, in October, I'm gonna be drawing stuff, and I'm gonna be like doing kanji inspired drawings. If I get plant, I'm totally gonna draw a soap on top of a plant. I'm just telling you now. But Japanese don't say jidohan baiki. Actually, they do. But jihanki works too. And then the longer version of jihanki as well. Yeah, jihanki. But they actually do. They say both. I've already heard it a couple of times. It's not that you're talking about how frequent people say things. So, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, jihanki is shown up a lot. I know. Jihanki is the abbreviated version of Idohan Baiki. And I can tell you now, learners, I can't tell you how many times someone tried to explain to me what jihanki is. Like the long version of jihanki. The Jidohan Baiki is, yeah. It comes up a lot. Like all the translated word, all the contracted words come up a lot. Like you could say that kara and uma, like all the cut off adjectives is the casual form. It's like super casual. So even when you're learning like karai or atsui, all of them atsu, kara, uma, like those become casual and more casual. So jihanki, sure. And I would still say jihanki most of the time because of where I first did it. But jidohan baiki, I don't think anyone's going to confuse if you said jidohan baiki.
換気口
They might look at you weird, but it is one of their Japanese words, right? So I don't know. Maybe if I go up to a stranger, I'd probably still say jidohan baiki to be formal, right? It's kind of like saying, what's up, bro? As opposed to, what's up, brother? As opposed to, hello there, sir. I don't know. That's my thought.
換気口
Hankiko. I learned Jihanki first. Jihanki. Duolingo used Jihanki.
換気口
Hankiko. The more you know, right?
換気口
Hankiko. Hankiko.
郵便受け
Yubinuke. 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 Real talk, Chibi. I'm that guy where if I learn an old English phrase that I like, I would deliberately drop it in the middle of a conversation just to be cheeky. Oh, you're looking for the store? It's over yonder. Over yonder. You need some timing, obviously. That was a little bit forced, but I would be that guy. I would definitely be that guy.
郵便受け信号機
Shingoki. Yonder. Somebody stopped it over yonder.
信号機
Shingoki. Here's the truth. Here's the truth. I think I can understand what you're trying to say. Here's the truth.
信号機
I can't speak back in old English. Like, you could say, "Tis the truth." No cap. I think that would take the cake when you put like things like "tis the truth" next to no cap, and then you start thinking, why English?
信号機
Shingoki. Right. Shingoki.
横断歩道
Hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Okay. So we're fine for now. Now we're gonna do our we're doing all. So I like focus. And then we're doing reading only. Speak forth, dear child. Thou shalt not feel afraid of those naysayers. Be gone with you. We must post haste. Must post haste to over yonder breaches of, I don't know. I can't speak like that. I'm not a writer. Can't do it. I swoon for stuff like that. Not sure where you picked it up, but my son does speak like he's been possessed by a Victorian ghost. I'm trying to get him to say "Behold, Father" instead of "Look, Dad." Behold. Oh, that's so cute. Sorry, my face is kind of tired from smiling today. Oh, "Behold, Father." That would be so good. That would be so cute. I think that would go viral. Like, if you like just record your son say, "Behold, Father, I have what is it? I have procured substance for our domicile." I don't know. I don't know, but man, there are so many archaic old English things that would be so funny. I would love to be able to speak that way, but I have no creative liberties on that. Someone come to me, and that's not even old English. That's just old words, like older words. Old English is like giveth thy love, loveth something, like I don't know. I read like old English literature. Like I had a class in classic British literature, and we read like Paradise Lost and things like Beowulf and stuff, and it is an experience. Epic poems and whatnot. Not on top of like, you know, the high school stuff like Shakespeare and stuff. Like it's something else. It's definitely something. Someone come to me like, can I have thy hearth? My response, marry me. Get swayed. Get swayed by Old English. That's pretty good. She did write that Old English for Robin Hood. Any Blayton? Any Blayton? I haven't actually read Robin Hood itself. Father, this meal has satiated my hunger. Truly a privilege, indeed, truly. Why do I feel like I'm reading a Bible? Old is English is basically its own, Old English is basically its own dialect at this point. Go to a Ren fair. I think the most casual, friendly way of getting rekindling or bridging to the experience and wonders of where English used to be, a Ren fair. If you have Ren fairs, like Renaissance fairs, it's not like that far back when people talk, but it is. I think it's a joy. I watch some Ren fair thing. Actually, there's a show called Ren Fair, right? That was just out. That might be interesting too. I haven't watched it yet, but it's about Ren Fair, or the nitty gritty, or maybe like some the kind of documentary about Ren Fair. I watch an influencer that is a Ren Fair person who's viral because they does I don't know if people are from hacks off to like Jacques Z Whipper, right? Jacques Z Whipper. I watch a lot of his clips and it makes me really humbled by how fun and stuff the Ren Fair could be. I myself haven't personally ever been to a Ren Fair. Ren fairs are very common where I am in the United States. And I haven't been to colonial stuff. I don't know if you guys ever been to a colonial thing. But in the United States, around the United States, there are places where you can do, there are colonial reenactments. So their English is slightly different too. Not necessarily Old English, but the way they speak, the period pieces. What defines a lot of the interactions is how the English have changed over time. And I imagine in the UK, there's versions of that too, and whatnot. So it's something else. If you like language learning, English is your common language. It's something else to go to a Ren fair, or like a theater play, like an amphitheater or something. I don't even know if people know what an amphitheater is now, as opposed to like a theater, or no, even a theater as in not a movie theater, right? Like not Egacon. We're not talking about Egacon here. That's a movie theater. We're talking about a theater. And then a theater has amphitheaters. It's just a concert place? No, it isn't just a concert place, because plays are in the place as well, like performance plays. Before there were I guess concerts might have came around at the same time, but there were plays. I would argue there were probably plays before there were concerts. Oh, and they can be closed, but an amphitheater, yeah, the amphitheater is the open air. Yeah, it's an outdoors thing a lot of times. Yeah. You went to a Ren fair as a kid? All I remember is the jester touching the maidens and the giant turkey legs. That's funny, because that's kind of the viral thing about a Ren fair, right? You either got bad mouthed by a jester, or the jester making fun of things and being mischievous, right? Mischievous or mischievous, however you want to pronounce it, and then the giant turkey legs, for sure. I haven't been to a Ren fair, and I already know those things. Or throwing like stuff at a person that's in a stockade, like being punished, and then you can throw stuff, or throwing food at like a clown, like jester, bad mouthing you, or tossing knives, right? Knife tossing, balancing acts. You get all those things. In the UK, we do living history, which is like more of a serious version of Ren Fair. I see. Yeah, and living history is what I would say about the colonial thing. So in the colonial thing is what I would make an analogy to living history. Like if you go to like Williamsburg, like Virginia or something, people recreate and reenact colonial period times in the United States. There's also like Civil War reenactments, right? And Revolutionary War reenactment, as opposed to Ren Fair. And of course, Ren Fair is an extension of the UK side of things. So, yeah. So much fun. I shall introduce my fist to the jester's face. You know what's a great word? Poppycock. Poppycock. The next time you go hang out with your friends, throw in the word poppycock. Well, that's just a load of poppycock. As opposed to like saying, you know, well, that's stupid. sorry. Okay, we're done. We're done. Now let's do our like reading exercise with the furigana up, and then we have to do the exercise without furigana. We might not get to that at this point. You gotta go to work? Good luck. Good luck with your work. Poppycock? Paprika? A new word I shall never use. You're welcome. Paprika? What the heck is paprika? Yeah. Take care, Chibi. Thanks for hanging out again. Good luck. Good luck with work today. Well, that's just rubbish. I like rubbish. Rubbish is great. Rubbish is a word that I use nonchalantly. Oh, and nonchalantly. Mata ne. Ganbatte. Ganbatte kudasai. But if you say man, see? I couldn't even understand. If you're smiling and having fun with all this discussion, you are a language learner, in my opinion. If you find it cringy and not interesting, I would probably strongly encourage to possibly rethink about how much you like language learning. Oh yeah, that's right. I don't know how to pronounce the last one. I got it though. Good luck. Biggia. Biggia. Okay, I don't wanna... I'm 50-50 totally cringy, but I'll smile. I don't wanna sound like I'm indifferent, but I'm not a passionate language learner, in my opinion. I don't think I'm a passionate language learner, but I think that's also why I'm having fun with language learning. Because earlier, let's bootstrap back to something that Silver said. Having a passion is great, but having passion exclusively of everything, you know, excluding everything else, can be a recipe for being overzealous, maybe arrogance, pride, and narrow-mindedness, right? So I would say, much like what you just said, 50-50. That's kind of the thing. There's something very remarkably sustainable when one isn't all in on a very specific thing. So I guess my goal here is to introduce the thing that I feel lots of people tend to forget about why they decided to be language learner, in my opinion. Like the other side of the thing, you know, the thing that brought them smile and enjoyment and excitement whenever they learn a new word or use it immediately because they couldn't help it. Like that type of excitement, kind of due to the nature of human condition, you can become complacent and forget how much the little things matter, right? That kept you moving. You know, when your vocabulary starts expanding to 3,000 to 4,000, like, what's another 10 words? It becomes, for lack of a better word, relatively negligible over time. And one can lose and forget what is it that they started doing. And that's a classical human condition thing. Very hard to go back to when you started because you're no longer that person anymore, right? You are more than that person. That doesn't mean you can't try to rekindle with something. And that's kind of the idea. Is it important for a well-established language learner to try to enjoy and maybe even cringe along with someone who just started language? Well, ask yourself if you want to be a teacher or a mentor. That's necessary, in my opinion. It's almost totally necessary. If you offer advice in a void surrounded by experts, that advice would be irrelevant, too, in my opinion. Unfilling, uncompassionate, and nearly probably destructive to providing advice to someone who's new. So that's kind of my perspective here. I'm humbled all the time by the joy that someone has when they're starting something, and is within that humility and humbleness that I remind myself sometimes, why don't I enjoy it like that anymore, right? Because that's an understanding of the human condition. If you have done something for a very long time, become incredibly experienced, it can be very difficult to hold on to that innocence, that smile, and that humorous fun that you had before when you start taking things seriously, right? Quote unquote seriously. But I don't think humans thrive on being serious 100% of the time. Some might, extraordinary people, I suppose, but that is certainly a lifestyle I personally would not take up. When it gets too serious, I pull back. Balance. Okay, Chushajo, right? Chushajo. Oh. Hotel. I was pointing to the hotel. Hotel. Okay. Okay. Meido Cafe. Again, I'm not here to teach people Japanese, so if you want to be taught Japanese, probably have someone who actually knows it. I'm here to have fun. Are you? Thou art entertained? No, I don't know how. Let's not do the old English thing. Are thou not entertained? I don't know. Is there a old English version of not? Kuya. No, kutsuya. Okay. Short. Neko. Okay, which Neko this time? Oh, by the way, no excuses. I don't know if you knew and if you're here, but this is the developer's cat. The developer has a cat like this. Supposedly, allegedly, this is the developer's cat. Oh, you heard that? Okay. Danboru bako. Yeah, he references cat. Yeah, yeah. It has that little like on the lip. It has that little mark. I think that's probably what gives it what makes it his cat, because oftentimes patterns like that can be very specific positions. So he has like the cat has a little bit of a different color pigmentation along the mouth. So things like that can come up statistically unlikely, right? Or like the variants of that are very particular. So if you have a cat, you might be able to notice the very specific non like stochastic pigmentation of the fur. So I'm guessing that's how he knows. Danboru bako. Game. Dun 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 dun. Kaimono kako. Kaimono kago. Kago? Kago. Kago? Kaimono kago. Judo. Judo. Whoops. Judo. Judo. Gaste. Playing game. Playing game. Like Mushi. I think there's Mushi here. Doko desu ka? Mushi? Mushi wa doko desu ka? I swear it's here. Oh, there it is. Wait. Hello? What the heck? Oh, wait. Kanban. Shita. Camera. Smaho. I keep hitting spacebar, expecting to like jump the rail things. Like vault over them. Basket. Oh wait. There's one here. You being Uke. You being Uke. Uke. You being Uke. Yurugurumi. I think a jumping mechanic is so ingrained in our brain. I know, right? Or a vaulting mechanic. Because since this is first person, you can definitely jump over things. But what I'm thinking about is like the auto, like you hold an action button and you just vault. You know, the approaching vaulting mechanic in like when you're dashing and you just hold the action button while you're approaching something and you just vault over it. Keep the momentum going and it just stops dead in your tracks like, oh, never mind. Wrong kind of game. This ain't Call of Duty. Sorry, Blizzard. I mean, sorry, Activision Blizzard. Suitcase. Oh, I did it again. That was unintentional. I really thought I was gonna be able to. You're bad at pressing the tab to run. I'm used to running as holding tab instead of one click. Oh, that's interesting. I'm used to the shift. The shift hold down in direction mechanic. So like when you hit shift, you start running, and then as long as you continue to hold down the directional key, you stay running. So the shift tab, the shift mechanic. So you shift into a run, and then as long as you continue to path, you're gonna continue running. And then anything you hit, you can vault over. Yeah, that's a lot of I think most of the indie games I play you use that approach. And then when you stop running, you proceed to walk again. So the moment you neutral, then sprint state is gone. So then you start walking again, and then you have to shift again. And then when you hit shift, you can lock in the run state. And the run state has an auto confirm on any proximity vaulting positions. So you would auto vault over something in a sprint, but if you're walking towards something, you wouldn't auto vault over it. Like a Dragon used something similar. Where if the character is moving in a forward momentum past speed, they would automatically vault or like bounce off walls automatically and correct their distance, correct their like trajectory while you're in a sprint state, so that you're not stuck holding down a button that isn't the directional button. Fun times. Different like the evolution of game input, right? Or different approaches anyways. Mizu Tamari. I think that's how the reason why I said Call of Duty is I think that's the thing they're using. That's how they're using the sprint. I don't know who created the standard for that one, but it's a pretty wide one. Tab is kind of hard. Man, you use the tab for run? Man, that's a stretch. Instead of shift? Dang. Impressive. There's also, in Warframe, there's also the crouch tech slide mechanic. And crouch tech slide mechanic usually use that same shift input that I described, but then during a sprint, you can hit control, the left control. So your pinky does a slide. If you want to do constant slide, you do shift control. So like you slide your pinky down without moving the rest of your finger, or you turn sprint into a toggle so that you can sprint slide. So to do a power slide, you need to do sprint into your left control. Is one of the like kind of the standards. And depending on if you're a toggle sprinter, I usually am a toggle sprinter. So that's how I make my power slides more consistent. But when you have to slide, like slide evade, yeah, for keyboards, obviously. Don't question it. I'm also the person who plays claw on controller. Oh, interesting. I see. Claw, you're a clawer, huh? I don't know what that says about you. I actually... It's fine. Strong pinkies, I can tell you now. If you play first person or third person long enough on a keyboard, you got some wild strong pinkies on your dominant hand, your input hand. Not the mouse hand, but the keyboard hand, whichever hand that is. Strong pinkies. Another way to get strong pinkies is to play a musical instrument that utilizes the fourth finger, like a violin. You could pick up a violin. Or a guitar. Preferably a string instrument. Piano is not too bad as well. Oh man, that pinky game beyond flex, yeah. There's another one that you can, I would argue you can definitely tell if someone has played substantially a shortcut RPG game, like an MMORPG, a long time, is when you second naturally hit all the numbers on your number row key without having to think about it. So if you can flex, stretch, like if you're okay with having your middle finger and your pointer finger on W and D while still stretching your ring finger to the one position, then you have probably played a lot of MMORPGs. As in, like, you can stretch your ring finger without moving the position of your W, and D. Your middle finger and your pointing finger can still move forward and right while hitting the 1 with your ring finger. Because the 1 is a very important, it's one of your most spammed extra actions. As opposed to like R, E, R, and F, and G, and T, right? If you have T, then yeah, you're stretching into the realm of like MMOs. Also, another fun thing is another, like, I have a lot of these. Like, if you were a redneck or something like that kind of thing, you know, like if you were a Asian something, this is, for example, the first thing that wears out on your mouse, if you're a specific type of gamer, which often deals with like excessive button inputs like MMORPGs, the first button that will go out on your mouse, or the thing that you have your mouse, is your bottom thumb button. The thumb button that is closest to your wrist. That button will get wrecked. My thumb button is already double actuating. It double actuates all the time. It's not like as robust as the other ones. Like if you use both of your buttons. Oh, and also another interesting thing is if you hit both of your thumb buttons on the mouse with different parts of your thumb. So you use the joint for the thumb button closest to you, and you use the pad for the thumb button away from you. So then your thumb rests on both those buttons. Obviously, if you're a clawer, then not so much. Because if you claw your mouse too, as well as that might not work as well. But I rest my thumb across both the buttons, and my bottom half of my thumb hits the bottom thumb button, and the top of my thumb hits the top thumb button. So I don't like lift at all. You just squeeze bottom. Yeah, that stuff is really interesting, how behaviors adapt to your output device, right? Technically, in the sense, you're outputting the motion, and then the input device itself is doing the input. It's kind of fun seeing how people approach optimizing how they output onto their input device. There's some wild ones on clips, like people who turn their keyboard like upside, like in an orientation that it's wild. If you're into fighting games, there's a really deep rabbit hole on how fighting games, their layouts, like how people program and do their layouts, because peripherals, input devices are incredibly flexible now. Crazy. It's for language learning related stuff, stenography, keyboard layouts, all that stuff. crazy. Really fun to talk about and think about. Stenography is really interesting, in my opinion. Watching it in motion is fantastic. There's this like clip, this guy who like takes questions about stenography, so they like demonstrate it in bites and pieces. I kind of like watching it. It's pretty mesmerizing. Like, how do you type Kit Kat? Kit Kat on a stenographer's I don't know what you call it, like a stenographer's keyboard. I don't know what you call those things, but I'm like, I don't see how that works, but that's neat. OG. OG. Manhole. Manhole. Kaban. Onya. Jido hanbaiki. Jido hanbaiki. Obi shop. Oshi. Konbini. Kashipan. Come on. Cho. Something like that they use. Oh yeah, the keyboard that focuses on the sound, right? Like, but the ones with like 16 keys? Yeah. The ones they use in the courtroom, yes. Yeah, the stenographer stuff. Stenography is like, I low-key, if I wasn't learning another language, I low-key would want to see if I can learn how to use a stenographer device. So fascinating. Okay. Chiro. Suika. Chizu. I think the closest thing that I kind of want to do just for fun is ortholinear keyboards. Ortholinear keyboards have been an interest since an influencer that I know talked about it. Ortholinear keyboards is pretty much keyboards that are you see how the keyboards are staggered, right? Your keys are staggered by the rows. Ortholinear just makes them all into a grid, so they're completely, it's a perfect rectangle. All the keys are lined up in the same space, so there's no staggering of them. Game center. Okay. We'll show you. You might be thinking, well, that's not a big deal. You'd be surprised. It's kind of like, you know, when you're walking around and suddenly one little thing is like a slight inch, you know, like a slight distance above where you are, and then you trip over, right? That's kind of the thing about human automation, right? Human intuition and practice skills. The skills that you practice most, like a language, for example, speaking your natural language, your native language, I suppose. And then trying to redefine it. It's one of those things that even the most subtlest things can be intriguingly and intellectually stimulating. No, looking at it, it seems like it would be a learning curve to, yeah. It's a really fun thing though. You know? It's like, sorry, whenever there's like a learning curve to be got, it's like I get swayed by the temptation. Say Sanki. Aw, those cute little dongles. Passport. I get swayed by learning opportunities all the time. It's rarely ever about the difficulty or the challenge, just wouldn't it be fun? Yeah. Machia. Sticker. There's gotta be another place with... Oh, wait. Wait. Dang it. Oh, there, cutie. Ramen, yeah. Mon. Nomimono. Eh? Okay, Jitencha. Hi, you. Right on time. Bottle. Crate. Okay. Ashiko. Oire. Oire to. Paper. Eh? Zashi. Zashi. T-shirts. Agami. Agami. Oh, this might Sankaku. Sankaku. Sankaku is gonna be a little Sankaku. Kakukon. Panya. You are Shinkoki. Shingoki. Ninja. We're getting close to the end. And then we'll do one last one. One last one. Dude, yesterday... Oh, I went so late yesterday. I'm still feeling the fatigue. Eigakan. I had so much fun yesterday. So... Nampu. Tabemono. You missed yesterday? Oh, we talked about like lots of joking things. Today was good too. It's kind of like the old English thing today, actually. It was like discussions like that. It's pretty funny. Busen. 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 Photo. Photo. I think I got most of the reads now. Pretty sure. Obake. Soon we won't have to do any of these exercises. We'll slightly warm up as quickly as possible and start writing as well. Oh, actually, I take it back. We're not gonna write immediately. We're gonna do the backwards. We're gonna do the quiz mode soon. Because I still have to get like the 60 or so vocabulary on the back of the cards. So we expand to quiz mode. Adapt the same thing to quiz mode. Yeah, all the other stuff. Then we'll do writing. I think I'll do writing at the end. It's fine. Udo Bowl. I actually enjoy the writing the most. At the moment. The reason why I'm not doing it here too quickly is because I have a lot of writing things that I have to do for Duolingo already. So don't get overzealous. Uekomi. Skeet. Hurry. What? I refuse. The heckin' building got in the way. I refuse, game. So Okashi. Heckin' game. How dare you? I was clearly pointing at the moon. Genkan. Genkan mato. Akana. Cafe. Menu. Megane. Tegami. Tegami. There's a Tegami over here, actually. Izakaya. Do 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 do. Izakaya. 行きましょう。冷蔵庫。アイスクリーム。肉。Oh boy. 道路標識。道路標識。道路標識。道路標識。標識。道路標識。道路標識。道路標識。道路標識。報酬トイレ。報酬トイレ。報酬トイレ。報酬トイレ。報酬トイレ。トイレ。報酬。I say we're about at the end, but I have no idea. I said that like 20 pictures ago. Amago. Say Nikten. Scato. Only 120 more to go. I think we're at the end. We're close. Ikoki. Benchy. Karaoke. Oraku. Maybe within 20? Maybe within 20? Because we have to get to the main event. Which is this again. Only without the furigana. Speedrun style, you know? Tsushita. Okane. Chata. I swear it's in the end. A moment of silence for my sanity, and it's fine. I'm thinking of other things while I'm doing this. You know? I'm paying attention to other things, you know? Daijoubu desu. Borato. Tore. Now I'm like saying the stuff. So I'm already saying the stuff now. Without any like Too much hesitation. There's always things to be able to do. Gotcha, gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha. Gaiki. 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 Oops. Guitar. Soda. Oh yeah, we're getting at the end. Yakioku. Yakioku. Denchi Renji. Lingo. Okay, maybe not. I thought that was the end. It took me 30 minutes when I'm focused. So we're keeping track of runtime as well. It took me 30 minutes yesterday if I was focused. Gaito. And I guess it depends on pathing too, right? Sometimes pathing can be a thing. Chocoreto. Sakura. Sakura. Densha. Oh no, Densha is a... Densha can be a dud though. I might have to skip it unless it's conveniently available. Machimasu. Come on. Japanese trains, yo. They're always on time. But they're precisely... Calling chat a distraction. Dude, yesterday I went so late. I think I was distracted for 5 hours. So we went like 12 hours. Or it might be 13 actually. So, yeah. We went a little too hard yesterday. Yeah, they're so RNG based. Yeah, the Hikoki and Densha. Now we're starting to use game theory. We're speed running now. No, just Shokuputsu. Shokuputsu. Chuchin may be a problem. I might forget Chuchin. Like the read on Chuchin. I probably won't get it right away. If they integrate a mic input, that'd be pretty cool too. Obviously that would cost some technical back-end costs. For sure. Wait till you learn you can TP back to the station so you don't have to run back and forth. I know you can TP back to the station. I already knew that. It's right here. But then you wouldn't learn the angles to snipe objects regardless of where you are. What, you think I didn't notice? Man. Don't underestimate me. Eijiban. You're so done with me. Hana. Mikan. Kurei, yeah, wait. Boldo. There's one over here. But I could have gotten the skateboard on the other end. Ah. Oh. Hold on. 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 See, I need to hear it again. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. Imagine sniping all the time. Look at this sniping skill. Vantage points, man. Oshirase. Where is it? Wait, I thought there was one over here. Darn it. Okay, that took an hour. So I blame 30 minutes on you, excuses. Okay. So we're pretty good. Now. Whoops. Now we're gonna graduate, right? Here we go. Omibako. Uh-oh. Oops. Baste. Baste. Potential. I should have went the other way. Jitencha. Yama. Ugh. Oh, that just made me feel sad a little bit on how much I backtracked for those. Kanban. Kanban. Genkan Mato. Genkan Mato. Terebi. Miku. Let's see how quickly I recall these. Miku. Hello there, little guy. Can't believe some insensitive fool called you chunky. It's just big-headed. Bullshit. Oh, there's Sub-Zero. Were you calling big? Zashi. Kaban. Kutsu. Kutsu. Yubi nuke. Yubi nuke. Yubi nuke. Calling him insensitive. Yeah, he called the doggo chunky. Anya. I heard chunky too. Whoa. 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 He called the dog chunky, okay? Hmm. Skateboard. Skateboard. Manga. Eiga poster. Sora. Oh, no, not Sora. Iwa. Where is Iwa? Borato. Basket. Come on. Benchy. Karaoke. Banana. Oh no, banana. Oh no. There's no other alternative banana. Okay. Sticker. You're not chunky. Just big-headed. Oh no. Wait. Ah, perfect timing. Ski. Tsukaiki. Kohi. Kohi. Shoyu. Is pleasantly plump better? Yeah, pleasantly plump. Oh, or fluffy. Wafwa? Huafwa? Wafwa. Reizoko. Wafwa is the word. Keijiban. Hashi. Seinikten. Shata. Only 2 places for Shata. Katsushita. Oh, no. Katsuya. Whoops. Just kidding. Jinja. Just kidding. Denji. Mikan. It's like Duolingo all over again. When you when you get like a wrong answer, it kind of slightly startles me. I'm like, wait. Namen, yeah. Machiya. Oshirase. Game Center. Obake. Dude, Obake is the troll, man. Obake Toraku. The things that are in the corners, oh, you gotta get lucky. Mushi. Yeah, I think I know all the reads. I'm pretty sure I know all the reads as well. If not, maybe drop one read. So we're almost ready to write soon. Awa. However, not before we do the quiz mode and the back of the cards. And then we can use the quiz mode's photographs to practice the fine mode. Instead, the quiz mode is basically stacked on top of the fine mode because you need the photograph for all of them and associate them. So we might not need to use the fine mode anymore. Obake is such a funny word to me. It's like, it fits. It fits goes. I can see that, yeah. Megane. Okay. Gaito. Cafe. Or cafe guan. At some point when I play this game, if we bootstrap enough and we don't need it anymore, I'm just gonna be saying all the Mandarin words instead. That's the future, by the way. So every time I'm learning Japanese, I'm gonna speak in Mandarin, and every time I'm learning Mandarin, I'm speaking in Japanese. It's gonna be so troll. Suika. I actually don't know Suika. Shui guo is probably the closest fruit. So wait a minute. Oh, this one is kind of I can forget this one. Ue. It's probably ue komi. Yeah, ue komi. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh no, is it shobutsu? Ashiko. It's going to happen. I mean, like, why not challenge yourself? Think in a different language while reading a different language. You might be thinking like, wait a minute. Why would a language learner spend all their time doing the thing they don't want to do anymore? It's like, why not? Like, so, you know, a lot of times you're saying like, oh yeah, to really understand the target language, you got to abandon your common language. Like, well, what happens when you use a target language to read another target language and vice versa? Now you're in your target language while learning another target language. I don't know what will happen. I mean, I like language learning, so we might as well go ahead and do that. Leveraging English is why I really enjoy Japanese and Mandarin. Why would I rob myself of doing that? I mean, if you want it to sound native and fluent, yeah, by all means. But I'm here to enrich everything I have. So, hey, if I don't ever get there, that's perfectly fine. Toro. Toro. Sakana. It's good. I'm already doing that now, to be honest. I just don't speak it out loud. I don't have enough output at the moment. Like, I can't output it regularly. But at some point, I'm going to do that. And because I do that all the time. Ore. There hasn't been any part of my life where I knew more than one target language, and those target languages overlap in practice. So it's gonna be exciting when it is. Like, there's some overlap. Neko. Danhoru bako. Danhoru bako. Danhoru bako. There's one in those corners over there. There's some in the corners over there, but I guess this would be still the go-to. Danhoru bako. My bad. Maid cafe. I've seen some people have multiple target language on flashcards, so I can understand the overlap. Yeah. My favorite things my favorite things to learn and approach like immersion is to have all the resources to you, and then learning languages scaffolded around another language. Almost all my Fujonese is acquired through scaffolding English around it, and now it's become second nature that I don't distinguish between English and Fujonese when I speak. It just happens. Scato. And I hope that Japanese and Mandarin and even Cantonese and Spanish will have some semblance of that in the future. Maybe in 10 years. No hurry. Abemono. And when I play video games, you sure as heck will find me randomly toggling between languages whenever I can. Toilet paper. Food bowl. Food bowl. Say sanki. Say sanki. Say sanki. I actually don't know what the pitch accent is for that. So say sanki. Say sanki. Kuren game. I can snipe it from here, I think. Okay. Izakaya. Yeah, took one day, man. It didn't take as long as I thought. I thought I'd be doing this for at least 15 days or something. It's not too bad. Highly comprehensible. At least this part. Izakaya. But I have so many tools at my disposal now. Isu. I've learned so many different ways. So much fun. Usen. Use. Ninjin. When you look at it, 145 words is honestly not a lot, especially since a lot of words are very common and you come across them a lot. That's exactly the type of the type of comment that I was commenting on earlier. When you look at anything, it's not a lot from the perspective that you no longer think words have value that's disproportionate to their use. They're very common words that you come across them a lot. So they're actually, when you think about it, these words are incredibly important. So they are worth more than the words that you are learning outside of the very common word, right? So it is a lot to know the very common word. To step back and provide a bigger, even a bigger perspective. The very common words are the words that are probably even more a lot than the words that you learn, like path, yonder, the things that we joked about. Anna. What tuxedo? What? Uh, えっと Oh no. How'd this go? Oh. Oh no, yeah. Oh something. Chiki. So we still got 1 week one. It's this one. Koji. So oh something. Odo. Odo. Oh. No, it's not even Shiki. It's Odo Ho something. Yeah, pedestrian crossing. Oh something Ho something. Yeah. Koji. So we found it, right? Saku. Mizutamari. No. I don't want you to say it, you little butthead. I'm just kidding. You can say it. now that I've invested some emotion into it, you can say it. Hold on. 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 So, what did I say? I got the second one. Listen, why are you typing the kanji? It was right there. You little pep. Hold on. Hold on. So, we got the whole. So it's do again. On. Not helpful that you type the kanji when the whole point is the whole butthead. Did it look like it had a problem reading the kanji? Hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Okay, hold on, hold on. Ashipan. Suitcase. Suitcase. Okay. Okashi. You can do Romaji too. I'm gonna asking for band here. Noto pasokon. I gotta time you out. Game. Ice cream. And just for the record, you're already typing Romaji. When I see you type out the hiragana and kanji, you already typed out Romaji. What are you talking about? Oh, Chushajo. Chushajo. Can't you see it? Unless you're telling me you have a Japanese keyboard, then I believe you. I wonder how you do that in reverse. So how do you, like, if you use like a Japanese keyboard and you want to deliberately type Romaji, I guess you just, you don't know me, you don't know what American keyboard, what? Did you just say what American keyboard? I see what you did there. Well played. Yo, Ringo. Yo, Ringo Atama. Ringo no Atama. T-shirts. You don't know what kind of American keyboard. That's funny. I like it. Unintentionally extra funny, I think. T-shirts. Buraku. We're almost there. I'm just kidding. We're probably not there. Oh no. Oh no. Wait. Something shiki. Something shiki. Do. Oh, do something Yoshiki. Yoshiki. Do dan, I don't know. Do ban, do kan. No, yo dan, no. It's Hyoshiki. Hyoshiki is the Hyoshiki is the last two. Hyoshiki. Do, maybe it's do or yo. Yo dan, yo ban, yo do kan, do dan, Hyoshiki. I don't know. Something like that. I guess we'll find out. Hashi. Oh, no, just kidding. Not Hashi. Zo. Zo. I rushed that one. I'm all tilted now. It's over. Oh, it's Doro. Yeah, Doro Hyoshiki. So it's ro. I was missing ro. Yeah, doro. Doro hyoshiki. Doro hyoshiki. Alright, fair enough. Don't you dare type out the kanji. I'm gonna time you out. Onya. So it still comes down to pedestrian crosswalk and heckin' street signs. It still comes down to those two. Man. They are very important. Chocolate. Manhole. Manhole. Hey! How dare you? Kamera. Kamera. Is there a kamera here? Kamera. No. Wait, is there one over here? Hmm. There's one all the way at the corner. But this one, the one in the Denkia works. Abi Shoku. Hoteru. Can I hit the Hoteru from here? No, I can't. Oh, no. Passporto. My bad. I was thinking of something else. I wonder if there's another passport. Mon. Okay. Bottle plate. Okay. Fukuya. Oh, wait. Just kidding. Wait a minute. Oh. Tori. Chiden Baiki. Wait. Oh no. We just talked about this. Ihan Baiki. Ihan Baiki. I don't know the pitch accent. Jihan Baiki? Jihan Baiki. Jihan. Am I missing a syllable? Jihan Baiki. Jido Han Baiki. Jido Han Baiki? I'm missing a syllable. Jido Han Baiki. think that sounds right. Or sounds close enough. Tamago. Jito do hanbaiki. Jido hanbaiki. Okay. I missed the u. I missed the u. I thought it was just jido. Jido hanbaiki. Okay. Sakura. Nampu. Does this count? Nice. Elevator. Thank you. Shingoki. Yakioku. Joro. Menu. Okoku. Sora. Sankaku cone. I made a point about it, like an emotional point about it, and it just came up right away. Daikon. That's how you do it. Leverage your emotions. Tegame. No. Not Tegame. This is Dakugaki. Yeah, Nakugaki. Eki. Figure. I can't snipe the figure for whatever reason from here. Oh no. Koushu toire. Ikoki. Koki, where are you? Come on. Koki. Come on. Dude, we already got Densha. Ah, such an RG. Densha! Machimasu. What? Dude, I still have Taiyu as well. Taiyu is still here. Come on. I was really expecting it to be. Oh, there it is. A whole minute, right? Nuigurumi. Heck. Nomimono. I need a Maho. I tend to center myself as much as I can between things. Shiro. Kuruma. Fukuya. Tsushita. Aimono gako. Gako. Kako. Kako. Aimono kako. Go. Kago. Okane. Hasa. Inu. Table. Dang it. I thought there was a table here. Postal. Densha. Oh no, I just saw that. Oh no. No, not like this. Come on. Densha? Densha wa doko desu ka? Doko desu ka? Hayaku! Please. Oh, I hope Tayo is after this. Oh, come on. Of all the time. Dang it. Stop. Caillou. Expecting it. Like. Chew, cha, chew, cha, chew, cha, cho what? Oh no. Is it cha or chew? Cha? Cho, cha, chew. This is Chan, Chin, Chan Chin, Cha Chin. Eiga-kan. Eiga-kan. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I've hit a snag. I'll come back to it. Ita. Kon Konkiko. Konkiko. Chizu. Begami. Gotcha, gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha. It's our last one. Let me think. Why am I hitting a snap on this? It's ruined. It's ruined. But what is it? A what? Why am I drawing a blank? It's just blocked out of my memory. Oh, Kagami. Okay. Ooh. Not the greatest. Could be better. Okay. So. What can we lift? Shingoki. Shingoki.
信号機
We don't need this.
植え込み
Uekomi. We might leave that there.
公衆トイレ
Koshu toide. Koshu.
公衆トイレ落書き
Rakugaki. Rakugaki is fine. Koshu.
公衆トイレ
Koshu toide.
植え込み
I think I'm good with Uekomi. And Koshu toide.
自動販売機
Idohan baiki. Maybe not. And then. Stu. 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 Kanki? No, Punky? No, I don't know.
室外機
Ngaiki. Oh, Shungaiki. We're gonna keep that there. This is Onji Konkiko. Konkiko.
換気口
Kankiko. We'll keep those there.
Kankiko.
Dodo Hyoshiki. Dodo Hyoshiki. 駐駐車駐車場駐駐車駐車場駐駐車場駐車場駐車場 say Nichten is fine. Busen. Busen's fine.
横断歩道
Hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on. 旧物旧物
植物
植物 oops 植物 oh yeah sure we're gonna keep that there 郵便受け
郵便受け
郵便受け we're gonna keep that there 生産機 is fine
生産機
生産機 okay these 8 fair enough it's gonna go much quicker tomorrow actually did we get in the long run do we end up getting all 35? That's 140. There's 5 that are not there. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's good enough for today. We'll start on the quiz mode tomorrow because we liberate a lot of time with this. Export favorites. I really hope there's going to be a new map by the end of the year. So exciting. All right. That's a wrap for day 7. I'm going to start on quiz mode tomorrow. See what we gather. And then eventually phase into writing them. All right, folks. Have fun, enjoy. What the heck does that mean? Did you just call me a... Wait, what? What does that mean? Alright, folks. You know, what's a message for this? Be creative? Question mark? Same. Oh. Onaji. Oh, okay. That's how you write same. Fair enough. Alright, folks. Yeah, we're gonna switch gears. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for discussing. Good luck with everything. We're gonna watch this later. Thanks. Arigato.